What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
All right, so look, I teased it going into break there. Bill Barnwell for ESPN, he put out on ESPN.com last Thursday, he predicts 9 head coaching openings. Now, for what it's worth, all 9 of these are probably not going to come open. He has the Dolphins on here. I'm not sure the Dolphins come open. And then the Raiders have won back-to-back games. We'll see what happens there. The Giants, they just won a game. What did they do with Daboll? What did the Jags do? They won yesterday. But here's what he has. He has 9 teams, and he goes best to worst. The best team he has as far as potential head coaching openings is what would be the most desirable to candidates is the Jacksonville Jaguars. That makes a lot of sense, right? You have a quarterback under a big contract, but you have a young quarterback. And while Trevor Lawrence the last year and a half or so has really struggled, you saw that really good second season from him. He took the Jags to the playoffs. They got a come-from-behind victory over the Chargers. He was able to advance in the second round and almost won that game as well. So we know Trevor Lawrence can get it done when everything around him is working. You also have Brian Thomas Jr., who set a Jags franchise record. He's a 1,000-yard rookie receiver. Travis Etienne's a young player. Tank Bigsby's a young player. Both of them look really good in that backfield. So you have a lot of young, solid pieces to work with. Jacksonville makes a lot of sense. In a really winnable division, I may add. Then he has the Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins' job opens up. But, again, for obvious reasons, that one's intriguing as well. Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. We don't know how much longer Hill's going to be there, but he's there for right now. You do have the Tua situation, though. What does his injury history look like? What is his future in the NFL? At 3, he has the Bears. I get it, right? Whatever you think of Caleb Williams, I personally do not think that Caleb Williams is going to ultimately be the long-term answer for the Chicago Bears. I have made that about as clear as I can possibly make on this show multiple times. But you have a young quarterback. Can an offensive-minded coach like a Ben Johnson or someone along those lines say, hey, I can develop this guy. I can help this guy win. You have the receivers on the outside. You got the savvy vet and Keenan Allen. You have DJ Moore, and then you got the exciting rookie and Roman Dunze. You have all the weapons needed on the offensive side. If you shore up that defense, I can see it with the Chicago Bears. Their issue is their tough division. I mean, they're going against the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, and Minnesota Vikings, who all look like could possibly be the best teams in the NFC, and they're all in the same division. There's the Patriots, who do they move on from Gerard Mayo for a year? You do have Drake May. Drake May has looked really good at times this year, a lot better than most thought he would this early in his career. Then there's the Giants, which I don't know about. The saving grace for the Giants is they have a good defensive line and Malik Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy. Both of them went over 1,000 yards this past Sunday, and they are both rookies. So you have 2 rookie weapons on offense that you know are going to be there for the foreseeable future. And right now, they're on pretty cheap contracts. Can you get the quarterback situation right? Although Drew Lock, 5 touchdowns yesterday in a must-have a game. He was excellent. Then come the Tennessee Titans at 6. Then he has the Raiders, which we'll get into. Then the Jets at 8. The New Orleans Saints at 9. Obviously, the Saints have a lot of issues, right? We talk about it. The worst cap situation in the NFL. Now, you have a lot of veteran leaders on this team, but they're all getting older, right? DeMario Davis, 35 years old. Cam Jordan, he's over 34 years old. Tyrann Mathieu, he's getting up there in age. We just talked about Alvin Kamara. You gave him a big contract, but how many more years left of this version of Alvin Kamara does he possibly have? You do have some exciting young weapons. You have a Rashid Shaheed. He's coming off of a season-ending injury. What about Chris Olave? He suffered a heck of a lot of concussions. What does his NFL future look like? There's so many question marks. I mean, really, outside of Taliesin Fuaga, Brian Bresee, Alante Taylor, Paulson Adebo, I mean, there is a ton of question marks on this team. Now, all of those guys are young and exciting players, but it's not enough to build around. And again, the cap situation. What realistic big-time free agent can you bring in the offseason? Whichever head coach takes this Saints job, is management's going to have to explain to them, hey, or they're going to have to explain to management, hey, my first year is a mulligan. First year, nothing but a trial run. Let me get this thing going in the right direction. Year 2 is the year where we're really going to start competing because the Saints are not just the year away. Now, for better or worse, The front office for the Saints has shown to have a lot of patience, have shown to give guys longer leashes than they probably should get. So that's intriguing to a head coach. Something else that's intriguing to a candidate, a really easy division. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win this division, especially with what Jaden Daniels and the Commanders did to the Atlanta Falcons last night. But you have Baker and the Bucs, who they're a good team, but they certainly have their flaws. What are the Falcons going to look like with Michael Penix Jr. moving forward? I know a lot of people are going to say, Michael Penix has looked excellent. Look, I don't look into rookie performances that much because it's hard to play quarterback in the National Football League. These guys are going to struggle. I don't think Michael Penix has looked that good. And that certainly does not mean that he can't get better. Keep in mind, this is his second start. He's done things needed to win the game, but he's made a lot of mistakes. I get it. The interception he threw last week wasn't his fault. There was one that was dropped that was his fault. He threw a pick last night, should have thrown 2 more. So there has been a lot of positives with Michael Penix Jr. There's been some negatives as well. The jury is very much still out on a guy like Michael Penix Jr. Are there any teams less desirable, though, than the New Orleans Saints? I bring that up because, obviously, look, the Saints have their issue. Worst cap situation in the league, tons of dead money. Most of your superstars are in the twilight years of their careers. But in no way do I think the New Orleans Saints are a worse job than the New York Jets. Look, we laughed at Woody Johnson 2 weeks ago, right, when it came out that, oh, he didn't sign this guy because his Madden rating wasn't high enough. He's got his sons Brick and Jack, which Brick, phenomenal name for someone to be in a front office position. These guys are making decisions for him. Who wants to go there? But also, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's done. I think he's done. He actually got replaced yesterday in the game by Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor was a lot better than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, 2 picks yesterday. The Jets drop another game. And again, I've talked about it. Aaron Rodgers has run out of people to blame for the shortcomings lately in his career. He won a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. He never could replicate it, so what does he do? Oh, well, Mike McCarthy's the problem. I want Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur comes in. Can't win with Matt LaFleur. Well, I'm out of here. I want to handpick my team. I want to go to the New York Jets. This is the team. This is the coaching staff that I can win with. Well, if you can't win with them, your head coach winds up getting fired. Well, that's no big deal. That was Robert Saleh's fault. That's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. Robert Saleh's gone, and you're worse with him, or you're worse without him than you were with him. Right now, Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold have better winning percentages with the New York Jets than Aaron Rodgers does. Rodgers is running out of people to blame. But let's say they move on from Rodgers. Let's say Aaron Rodgers retires. I doubt you're keeping Davante Adams at that point. He's an aging veteran on a big contract. His boy Aaron Rodgers isn't there with him. I don't think you hold on to Davante Adams. And then if Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are gone, does Garrett Wilson want to re-sign with your team? Now, you have Breece Hall. You have Braylon Allen. So you have 2 really solid pieces as far as running backs go. But, I mean, is that enough? Because if you lose Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, and Aaron Rodgers, how desirable does that job become? And you can say, okay, well, their roster top to bottom is younger than the New Orleans Saints, and they're paying less money. That is very true. I've mentioned it that the Saints have these aging superstars. At least they will have a veteran presence. At least they will have leaders in the locker room. The Jets right now don't have any of that. And let's not forget the massive expectations that it takes when you're the head coach of a team that's in New York. I mean, look at the short leashes that they give all these coaches. I talked about it for better or worse. Mickey Loomis, Gail Benson and company, they give coaches long leashes, maybe longer leashes than they deserve. It's kind of the opposite of the New York Jets. So with the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers' career, I mean, I don't see a resurgence coming anytime soon. What do you do with Davante Adams? Can you get Garrett Wilson to re-sign? And all the pressure and all the expectations come with coaching Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. You don't have that in New Orleans. New Orleans is certainly, I think they're 2 years away, but if the front office and management of the New Orleans Saints explain to a coaching candidate, hey, you have 2 years where you're not going to be judged, rebuild this thing, you're judged off of year 3, I think the Saints could be a better spot than the New York Jets. Going back to the easy division. As bad as the Saints are, that division is not world beaters. The Panthers are terrible. The Falcons, we don't really know what their future looks like with Michael Penix Jr. The Bucs have found their answer at quarterback with Baker Mayfield, but they still have a lot of holes on that team, including the defense, which has really gotten worse as the season's gone along. And then on the flip side, if you're the Jets, are you better than the Dolphins right now? I don't think so. You obviously have to go through Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who look like they're going to control that division for the near future. And we just talked about Drake May and how much promise he's shown with the New England Patriots. That is a really tough division, and right now the Jets are kind of looking up at everybody. So more expectation. You don't know who your leaders on that team are going to be, and a lot tougher division. As bad as the Saints are, I don't know if they're hands down the least desirable opening out of the 9. But the point is, the Saints are obviously not going to have their pick in the barrel, right? If the Jags comes open, I do like that job better. If the Giants comes open, I certainly like that job better. The Bears is already open. I like that job better as well, as tough as that division is. We'll keep an eye on it, though. We'll hear things, rumblings of where they're leaning. For what it's worth, Mickey Loomis this weekend said he wants to hire a head coach that he knows. Now, if you're like me and you saw that, you said, well, Aaron Glenn, that's probably you right there. I'm sure Saints fans would have mixed opinions about that. I think you could do a lot worse than Aaron Glenn. But, there's guys out there that Loomis knows that we may not even be thinking of right now. So it'll certainly be interesting to watch as the Saints coaching search continues.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.